I might read
Take
them.
a donut.
I'm like super particular about my coffee and I prefer my coffee for all. I have the same Keurig in my office, I have the same K-cups, it just doesn't run.
I have
water.
I have the
Yeah.
Nespresso machine at home, the Nespresso pods.
Yep, I have.
And
those-
now anything
those
else doesn't taste right to
Yeah.
me. I'm such a snob
too. I have one of
now.
those with the little rocker thing.
Yup.
Yeah.
You're really upscale.
And now I'm a snob.
yeah.
Oh, I'm the same way.
Well,
Comes with the
my
frother.
Dominican husband is very particular about his coffee.
Oh,
and his
yes.
Espresso roast, so it was a Father's Day gift. Just the Nespresso machine.
They're
Although
wonderful.
those little pod things are expensive.
Yeah, but-
I only buy like one
Oh,
kind.
yeah.
when they're
Oh,
on
my
sale.
husband, I have like 10 different kinds underneath.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then, but we put them back in those things and they recycle.
Yes, you put them in the bag.
Yeah, and then I just take them to UPS.
Yeah. Probably better for the environment. than the-
That's what I like to say. Good coffee and I'm saving the world. One pot at a time. One pot at a time.
Oh my goodness, I mean, she's a giver.
I could be exaggerating a little, but it's okay.
All right, we do have a quorum and we're broadcasting live on YouTube.
Okay,
I'm sure everyone is happy with the coffee reviews.
Coffee is important.
It is.
We all run
welcome to
on.
the Capital District Youth Center. It's 9 a.m.
Recording.
Wednesday, April 17th, 2024. This meeting will be broadcast and streamed on the Capital District Planning YouTube channel. We'll welcome everybody. I'm glad you could come today. You have a quorum. Roll call. William Connors. Here. Kristen Swinlin. Not here. Laura Bauer.
Here.
Mike Stammel. Not here. Susan Ostano.
Here.
Saratoga, myself. Gary Hughes is not here. Samantha Miller is here. Mark is here. Myself is here.
And we have Luke Jacobs
We have,
and Ray Wilcox from Berkshire Farm. On the internet, we have Bob Ryan from Harris Beach, our council, Stephanie Thomas from the Albany County Executive's Office, and Moira Manning from Albany County.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, our second item is to approve the January 17th, 2024 meeting minutes that are enclosed. We have an action item to approve them. Do you want to go first? We have a first from Laura. Do I have a second? Samantha? Is there any questions at all? Any additions? Do I hear it? Yes,
Okay.
Laura, and, nays? Not hearing, none, on it passes. Third item is our financial statements through March 31st, 2024, memo 2406.
So payments for Q3 '23 have been made to Berkshire. We're still waiting on a payment from Albany County for Q4 2023. Q1 expenses will be posted to SSOP shortly, so we can issue the bills once we get the rate. So through March, the SD expenses, and I'd like to commend Berkshire, they're getting their financials to us much sooner, much quicker than they have in the past, which makes this reporting and also our expense reporting easier. So SD is running at 1.2 million to budget through March. It's about 17.5% to budget. SSD is about 1.9 million, and that's about 17% to budget for that class. So just looking for the approval of the financial statements.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Do I have first?
Make that one.
Laura, do I hear a second? Thank you, Samantha. Is there any questions regarding financials? Hearing none, yeas,
Aye.
nays? Hearing none, passes. Okay, number 4, educational program, update, Mark.
All right, well, conversations with BOCES are progressing. We've had an exchange of draft contract language. Now the focus is on I guess, the attachment A, which is the actual scope of services detail. So Berkshire's attorneys are looking at it right now. I'm sure BOCES will have something to say about that. And, that level of detail, there are certain requirements that the law specifies for the program and the detention facility, which the contract references. But we want to make sure that there are clear expectations for all parties when we go into this relationship, which is why we're focusing on the scope of services. So I think, some of the issues that will be addressed would be IT, some equipment stuff, who owns what they'll need. In the relationship that's contemplated, Berkshire Farm will hire the education administrator and BOCES will provide the teachers. So BOCES will do the teaching and Berkshire will do the paper pushing, essentially. And once we get up to 4 classrooms after the detention expansion project is completed, BOCES is anticipating to be able to also add an additional teacher role to that. With the understanding that as there's sort of challenges hiring teachers, qualified teachers, they're going to do the best that they can come September 1st to provide as many teachers as they can. But they may not provide, all the teachers that are required to run a program to the standards that the regulations require. And that's just something that we'll have to deal with as a reality of the employment market right now. So, but things are positive. Luke, do you have any feedback on it?
No, I think we're really excited to be working with BOCES and that our future planning, especially with vocational things with BOCES, we could do a lot more than we would have been able to with South Bellamy. So I'm excited.
Any questions?
No questions. Item 5, SCOC transition workshop recap. I'm on 2407.
Yep, so back in February, staff from Berkshire and SCOC met over the course of a couple of days. And our construction manager to talk about what needed to happen in order to operationalize the new dorm space in the facility and the logistics of other things that are happening in the facilities. You want to just give a quick recap of?
Sure. We learned a lot in those days about how to move around in a facility. It's not quite as easy as you think to move to a new space. But one of the things we did develop with the team was a transition plan. And so Ray's worked very hard with his team to develop the transition plan. You did get an email to you yesterday. This recaps all of our milestone dates to make sure that we can open the dorm on time and successfully
If
with
anybody
our
needs it,
staffing.
there's extra copies here.
Okay.
And we are right on schedule. And moving forward to get to the D dorm, because it's going to be moving from the C dorm to the D dorm, our staffing itself, numbers won't change, but how we staff are going to change. And Ray's working on that with his team. Ray, I'll just let you talk about what you've been doing.
Yeah, so we've spent a lot of time with training all the staff within the building, spent a lot of time on security, documentation. We just started a week ago with our tours for all the staff. This is the first time that they were able to see the new expansion. So that was really uplifting for a lot of the new staff. And as we transition going into next week and a couple of weeks, great deal of time of training, doing scenario trainings. We have our post orders ready to go and be posted up. And just having the involvement with staff. It's going to be real change, start uplift and, with all the staff within the building, just changing the culture and everything. So I think this is going to be a real good thing for us.
And nobody's going to want to work on the old dorm.
Yeah.
But we are excited to have a new rec yard, a larger rec yard and a rec yard that we can get our kids out in this summer. So we're very excited to have that. I think, with SCOC, our comment to them was we wish we had done this process we had started it a year ago. Instead of waiting till February to work on this, we are on track, but, and Ray's team's done a great job, but they've had to do a lot of work, very quickly.
Yeah, we've hired a lot of new staff as well, so, we welcome them inside the building. And just, we've been trying to spend a lot of time in the past couple of years changing the culture of the building. I know when the building first opened, it was thought of as a jail. More so the past couple of years, it's been really focused on counseling, keeping residents in program and things like that, so we're doing really well with that.
Good to hear something very positive.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
And just for some perspective, which I heard Luke communicated on the call the other day with OCFS. So you had 18 people on the shift that you were referencing. And this time last year, you were lucky to get 8.
8, yeah.
Wow.
So we've more than doubled the
Good
staff
job.
on shift
Yeah.
since last year.
Nice.
We have to
Nice.
we have to add another 30% on that, for when we form, but we are doing. I never thought we'd get there when recruiting was there in January of last year, but we're doing a great job.
How's the retention going?
So our retention rate has gotten much better. We were at about 30% turnover rate in year, and now we're getting down into the low 20s, high teens for our percentage. So we are dramatically improving that, but we still have ways to go.
And the culture is also changing, that helps it also, I'm sure.
It does, but it's also difficult for some of our staff who've been there a while. Culture change is tough.
Yes, absolutely, for sure. Super, I appreciate it. Is there any questions at all for the? At all? None. Item 6, facility use memo 2408.
Yep, through Q1, Albany County has been using the lion's share of beds at the facility with 49, followed by Schenectady with 21 and Rensselaer 19. Honorable mention, Saratoga County with 1% bed days and Ada County 10%. I just put a couple graphs together to show the distribution of who's in the facility for how long. So, talking about facility use and beds, when we do make the dorm D, pod D transition, so that'll be 12 beds. Pod, C will be taken offline. So the 12 beds that were in pod C will essentially be replaced by the 12 beds in pod D. Pod A, that's in phase 3, right?
Pod A and B are in phase
A
3.
and B are in phase 3. So we'll continue to be able to operate at the 24 bed capacity, right?
We'll actually be able to go from 23 to 24 beds.
Right.
With the move over to because currently one of our C dorm rooms is offline, room 75. But when we move to the new dorm, D dorm, we will have that room back. So we will have 24 beds officially as of, when we make that move.
But we won't be up to the, obviously the 39 total until the whole project is complete. But any questions on facility use? Still the lion's share going towards, the participating counties. We do, in the interest of helping other facilities and other counties out, are accepting, the 10% of bed days for the out of counties. There's still a tremendous demand for beds, and the facility is generally running between 18 and 23 consistently.
Yes.
Thank you, Mark. Is there any questions on that? Hearing no questions. Item 7, heightened monitoring progress report.
Well, I'm very pleased to report, and as is Luke, very pleased to hear that we're off the heightened monitoring. We received an email from Nina Aladort this week indicating that we have been released from the heightened monitoring. So congratulations to Luke and Ray and team for making it happen.
Very good.
It only took a year to get noticed that
We
we're.
get the notice.
I feel like you've been off it a while.
But it's official now.
We're off the hook.
So we can take this off of the agenda.
Thank you. Item 8, facility operation agency report, Berkshire.
Are you gonna talk about what we've been doing?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, we have spent a great deal of time with our training, focusing mainly on security. With our security team, we have staff that are just in charge of security. So we've been focusing on that, doing in-house training, documentation training. We spend a lot of time with that with all staff. Because it's gonna be extremely important as we open, Pod D, with documentations and the logbooks and things like that. So I'm very happy to the progress that we made thus far with documentation and security training. And then as we continue to move and open up, we're gonna have more opportunities for training for the new staff that are actually coming in. So it's been great. And like I mentioned earlier, it's just been changing the culture of the facility. Being able to catch the new staff coming right through the door, training them the right way, giving them the necessary tools that so they can succeed in our facility. So it's been going really well.
Good to hear.
And also to know, we are working with our human resource department about hiring our new positions as we have spaces open up. Some new offices are gonna be opening up with some of these changes, so we'll be hiring more of our clinical staff starting in the summer, so we can support our kids more in that way.
What's the plan for hiring the clinical staff?
So we're going to be using our internal recruiting department to do that in Berkshire. However, we also have utilized some outside recruiting firms for clinical staff if we are having difficulty. But to hire our first clinician, we were able to do it.
Thank you very much. Item number 9, RTA capital project update, MO 2409,
All right,
the big one.
I will share my screen here. So a lot of progress has been made since we met last at the facility. And that progress would not be possible without Luke and Ray's leadership and making sure that all the logistical challenges of operating the facility while the construction project is happening are addressed and addressed effectively and in a timely manner. So thank you to both of you and your teams for doing that. Gil Bain, our construction manager, is doing a great job keeping things on track and coordinating the primes as needed. So this was the February report, and obviously the new, this is a picture of the visitation wing getting fitted out and carpet. This is a picture of the Pod D addition with some masonry on there. This is some water line. I won't vouch for what it is exactly. Hole in the ground. New roof with a couple heat pumps. This is the new conference room in the new administration wing. And hopefully our board will be meeting in that new conference room in June, assuming that we'll have internet in the room. This is a interior shot of one of the hallways in the new Pod D. The new wings have skylights, so the place is actually flooded with natural light, which is nice in those hallways. And I'll just show the March report. Progress on vegetation continues. This is another picture of looking down the hallway of one of the sides of the Pod D. So this is looking down. This is a 6-bed dorm unit. At the end is the common area, the living room, I guess we'll call it. Progress on the Sallyport addition. The walls are up. I believe the roof is on the Sallyport at this point. And this is a picture of the fence that is going around the new recreation yard, and that's all going in. This is the lovely Berkshire purple that's in the conference room.
I hope that doesn't change.
They got the right color. I did find out what the Berkshire shade was, though, so the
The
new
new
color.
name for Berkshire.
So it's the new shade.
Part of the transition.
Yes.
And this is good news, although maybe not exciting for most, but for me, certainly. This is the new pad for our new chiller. As you remember, last year, we spent $40,000 replacing the compressor on the chiller. And in 2020, we spent $20,000 replacing the compressor on the chiller. So now we'll have a new chiller that will hopefully last another 30 years.
Mazel tov.
Just some pictures of installing some concertina. Well, the project really is trying to eliminate the need for this concertina wire. There are certain areas during construction and potentially after that will continue to need to have it. This is one of those areas right here.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be around the buildings, but the fence around the facility will no longer have a concertina around it, which we're very excited at.
So in terms of budget, we're on track. The project, I believe, is 62% complete. Let's see, I had some summary statistics. $11.3 million has been dispersed to the prime contractors, 62% total project completion. We're tracking on contingency budget of 1.6 million, and we have just over half of that remaining. So we're in a good position, being more than halfway done with the project, having more than half in contingency left. I think some of the major challenges that we have already been addressed. So that means we have a little bit of room, which is a good thing to have in construction projects after the pandemic. One other benefit, and this is a result of this board and your meeting here, since we have extra room on the FF&E budget, we're gonna get new conference room furniture, so it looks a little bit less ramshackle in this room. We'll have matching chairs, tables that have straight legs. Would be amazing.
But we do have 4 legs on our chairs.
Yes, 4 legs. The new chairs will have wheels. Mhm. It'll look very, very 2022, 24. Any questions on the capital project? I guess I should say the biggest milestone coming up is obviously moving Berkshire's administrative offices into the new administrative wing temporarily. And then the other thing that we're waiting on is basically for grass to grow in the rec yard. Because, I guess the sod to start growing and to be set in. Because Dorm D cannot open up until the rec yard is.
Until we have a usable backyard. We're not gonna obviously be on the side, we'll spend enough time on the basketball court and the brand new outdoor gym we're very excited about, but we need that sod.
How are we tracking on our change orders?
Change orders, I mean, we have two
Construction
coordination meetings a week. So on Tuesdays, we have a 1 o'clock meeting with all the prime contractors and the architects and the construction manager, and all the change orders are discussed or if any change orders are needed, that's where the conversation starts.
Happens there.
Yep, and Gilbane tracks all those change orders through their Procore project management tool. And so that process has been happening very well, except for the IT to the admin wing, which
seemed like we had it all set and then yesterday, but that's why we have those meetings.
right. So, yeah, I mean, I think that the management of Gilbane has been really effective in keeping everything on track and getting ahead of any potential problems. Because not only do they have the meetings with the prime contractors, talking about the logistics and timing of doing different projects, but they also have a meeting with, at the end of the week with Berkshire and with me and with OCFS and with SCOC to make sure that, the regulatory stuff, that the regulatory agencies are monitoring how the construction's happening. And that has also resulted in heading off some challenges, or at least flagging stuff that we would need to address before things get too far. They will be having a walkthrough, SCOC and OCFS, in a couple weeks to give their sign off of Dorm D. The Albany County's building code enforcement officer is going to be in a position to issue an occupancy permit for the Dorm D. And the agencies, SCOC or OCFS, as it were, we're going to be able to, after that walk, hopefully amend the facility capacity and operational permits to be able to actually operate Dorm D. So all that stuff has been thought out, over the course of many months, really looking at certain timelines. One of the major timelines is the meeting that SCOC has, because SCOC's board meets monthly or meets semi-monthly, depending. But we really need to have all of our ducks in a row for their May meeting.
Their May board meeting.
Because if we miss the board meeting, essentially that turnover would be delayed a month, which would make it very challenging for the prime contractors to continue to do a lot of work in the facility because it's all predicated on getting the kids out of those interior spaces to begin interior renovation. So,
But we are on track.
right. At this point, we're on track for that.
Sounds good. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, is there any questions? Hearing none. Is there any other business that we have to address? If there isn't, we're all clean then. Therefore, the next meeting date is 9 AM, June 12th, 2024, at the Capitol District Juvenile Secure Detention Facilities Conference Room, right?
Right.
Oh,
We will not be meeting here if everything stays on track. Sure it will. And IT and Raoul and the whole stuff can join us also.
Just to note that, the third Wednesday of June is the 19th, but that's Juneteenth, so we moved the meeting to the 12th, just as a reminder.
Okay, good point. Okay. That's it. Is there any questions? We're done. Can you close the meeting? Have a first, Laura, you have a second.
all right, Laura Sam, all three motions.
Right here, Yeas to close the meeting? Yeas. Do I hear any yeas? Hearing none, we close this meeting.